Hello everybody, welcome back to RnRh Season 2, Episode 69, Part 4. And, I guess it's Nihongo, or I guess they also pronounce it Nihongo. And like before, we're gonna kind of diverge from the overall week theme and just go over some kanji, some pretty important kanji. And I guess we should just jump right into it. For starters, there is a one that you will see a lot when you're learning Japanese is person, or sort of people in a way. They don't really have plural. It depends on context. But it's called in the hiragana or the spoken kun way. There's also like different pronunciations in on. But let's just stay with the actual pronunciation of the kanji letter itself. For person is hito, and it's just like a line from the bottom going up, and then once it reaches the top, goes back down. And it's used for people, for ethnic nationality, for somewhat ethnicity in a way, but not really. It's used for number of people. It's used in a variety of ways, and you'll encounter it a bunch of times. Another one that you might encounter a lot is water, mizu, and starts with, from all these kanji starts from the top left when you're writing to the right, down left, and from bottom left to the right. So whatever is the topmost left item, it's what's written first. And it looks like a 7, a J, and a K out of that J. Let's go into han. A han, it's te. And for han, the overall image of the kanji, because to learn kanji, it's a lot easier to associate the meaning with the overall way that it's written. In a way, misu looks a little bit like a sort of river flow a little bit. Hito means looks like a person, like walking, sort of a stick figure. Te is a little bit harder to associate. Once you see is a J and 3 lines. The top line that connects the J is in the middle and tilted downward on the left side. The other 2 lines are just straight. And in a way, I guess you can sort of, it's 6-finger hand in a way. I guess you wouldn't be able to associate that much with hand. Another one that it's really easy to associate and you'll probably be able to recognize a lot more is ki, which is a tree or wood. And it's exactly that. It looks like a tree. It's a cross and a little 2 branches coming off the center of the cross downward. And like I said before, ki is the overall pronunciation of the actual kanji. When it's connected to an actual word, sometimes it changes to a on pronunciation. That's the name of the pronunciation, on. Let's move on. Mouth. This is another really simple association one. It looks like just a regular big square box with two little legs at the bottom. And it is kuchi? Is that how it's spelled? I think that's how it's spelled. Let me double check. Where's my hiragana when I need it? Oh, that is my hiragana. Or kura. No, it's kuchi. It's definitely kuchi. Could be kura. No, it's kuchi. Yeah, I didn't know that's how you spell mouth. That's kind of weird. Opening as well, if you can associate that with a mouth. It's a square open mouth in a way. Another kanji is thread. Thread is kind of a weird one because it's sort of a common radical that just pops into a lot of words. It doesn't have an on pronunciation, so it's just a little bit on the weird side. I guess because of the red thread fate that a lot of Japanese folklore and pretty much stories have, where you're connected to somebody and they bring meaning to your life, and that person's connected to you by a single red thread on your pinky. And it is ito. So it will be red thread akai ito. Because if I'm not correct, I pretty much said the red colors, all the colors last time I was in this podcast. So you always say the adjective, the adjective, red, akai, and the item, ito, a thread. And I don't know how to describe this one, but you'll just have to Google this one. It's something that when you'll see it, it's like, oh yeah, there's no way that will ever be able to be easily associated with thread. One of the ones that I like a lot, and I meme a lot about, is the heart kanji. It's called kokoro, and it you can associate it with heart quite easily. It's 3 little lines, 2 going up from side to side, and 1 right in the middle on top, going from top left down a little bit to the right, with in between all 3 of them a J going to the right, and it's a really square J. So combined, it looks like that's the arteries, and the big J is the overall shape of a beating heart in a way. So kokoro, straight from the kokoro. In another kanji for earth, soil, kind of like the ground, it's tsuchi. and it's a cross, a more centered cross with a line underneath, connected in the middle. It's pretty simple. I guess you can think of a tombstone and associate earth, ground, soil with a cross. For our next two kanjis will be the last ones. Next one is say, when you're talking to somebody. It's you. And it pretty much has the mouth kanji underneath a little accent with one long line, two short lines on the middle of it, and then the mouth kanji, which is a square. Which I wouldn't. I guess if you're looking at the mouth from the bottom outward, it will be like the sound wave that you can probably associate kanji with. And last but not least is woman or female, girl, pretty much the opposite sex of male, or I don't know how much to explain this. That's pretty much the entire thing. Onna, onna, O-N-N-A, onna, onna. And for this one, it's three lines in a way. One in the middle, sort of a straight from left to right line. And then on the top of that line, there's a crooked 7, go from top down and then to the right, straight to the right. And across that, from the bottom part of the line, a J crossing that 7. In a way, I wouldn't know how to associate that or combine that with the other one. So there's two pretty much kanji that it will be pretty impossible to learn overall. But once you look at kanji a lot more and connect it with other words, a connection like onanoko, onanohito, or I guess kanojo, stuff like that, you'll eventually get those hard to associate kanji with the overall message. And I guess to end this podcast, I guess I'll give a little story of a little misunderstanding in Japan. When I was in Japan, I went to a sort of clothing store, a traditional clothing store with their yukatas and their kimonos and all their clothing and fabric. And I walked up to the lady that does all the. I guess she does all the fitting, and she was a store owner. A nice, mature lady, on the older side. I go to her and I speak my broken Japanese, and I say, how much is your, let's say, blue kimono? I want to buy a kimono. How much is your blue kimono? And when she heard that, she puts a weird face and she says, no. And I repeat it again. And it's like, oh no, sorry, no. Anyways, I kind of feel like, what? That was perfect. Like she understood what I was saying, and she kept on saying no. I don't know why she wouldn't sell anything to me. So I just walk out and it's like, fine, whatever. I don't need to buy it anyways. A couple of blocks away, I walk up to another, like a smaller, more modern looking and a little bit cheaper store, a little mom and pop shop pretty much as well. And I say again a blue kimono, but this time I was pretty much saying ona no hito and all that a little bit less rapidly or a little bit slower. And this time I caught myself and said blue ao a lot more emphasis. And then I kind of remembered, like, did I say that on the previous store? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I said I, which is love. So yeah, that was a big understanding. If I was heard, I would have been like, what is this foreigner asking for? Why is this? Like, what kind of perverted things are they looking for? This is not that kind of establishment. So, you know, if you ever talk to a different language speaking person than your own, try to avoid seeming a little pushy, or I guess have a lot of visual cues and point a lot more than when I did. Well, that's all for this episode, and hope to see you guys on tomorrow's RnRh Season 2, Episode 69, Part 5, where we are going to have hopefully an interview, and hopefully I'll say a couple of gaming news. So hopefully you guys kind of got a little hint on learning kanji or tip, and you try to stick it out, because it's a really, really time consuming effort. Take care. See you next time.